explore the profound lives of philosophers, from ancient to modern, as we delve into their groundbreaking contributions and how their theories shape our understanding of reality. Can you guess which philosopher's ideas still influence our world today? Well, you better sit back and watch, as we, Group 4, will give you some knowledge about it.
The life of Socrates. Socrates was a renowned ancient Greek philosopher who is often regarded as one of the founding figures of Western philosophy. Socrates was born in Athens, Greece, around 470 or 469 BCE to a stonemason father, Sophronicus, and a midwife mother, Venera. He grew up in Athens and worked as a stonemason himself before devoting his life to philosophy. Socrates' method of questioning and his skepticism towards traditional Athenian beliefs lead to controversy and made him enemies among the political and religious elites. In 399 BCE, he was charged with impiety and corrupting the youth of the city. He was brought to trial and defended himself during his trial, but was ultimately found guilty. After his conviction, Socrates was given the choice to renounce his philosophical inquiries or face execution. He chose not to abandon his principles and willingly drank a cup of poison, hemlock, ending his life in 399 BCE. His death marked a significant event in the history of philosophy and became a symbol of the tension between philosophical inquiry and the authority of the state. Contributions of Socrates. Socrates is best known for his Socrates method or Socratic method, a form of dialectical questioning aimed at stimulating critical thinking, self-examination, and the pursuit of wisdom. He believed that an examined life was not worth living, and that true knowledge comes from questioning one's belief and assumptions. Despite his lack of written works, Socrates' ideas and teachings had a profound and lasting impact on Western philosophy. His emphasis on critical thinking, ethics, and self-examination laid the foundation of the development of subsequent philosophical traditions, particularly the work of his student Plato and his student Aristotle. Socrates' legacy also extends to the broader fields of ethics, epistemology, and the philosophy of education. Socrates' philosophy, particularly his emphasis on critical thinking, self-examination, and the pursuit of wisdom, can be applied to various aspects of modern life. For example, the ethical decision-making. Socrates' emphasis on self-examination and the pursuit of wisdom is highly relevant in ethical decision-making. When facing moral dilemmas, individuals can engage to introspection and questioning to determine the right course of action, considering the consequences of their choices. Also, in personal growth and development, Socrates' dictum, "Know thyself," underscores the importance of self-awareness. Practicing self-questioning or self-examination and asking oneself challenging questions can lead to personal growth, self-improvement, and a deeper understanding of one's values and goals. In meditation and counseling, meditators and counselors can employ Socratic questioning techniques to help individuals or parties in conflicts explore their thoughts and feelings, leading to greater insight and resolution of emotional or interpersonal issues.
The life of the philosopher Plato. philosopher in the 5th century BCE was named Plato. He studied under Socrates and then mentored Aristotle. Many people believe the academy, which he created, to be the first Western university. Plato was Socrates' student. He composed the Socratic dialogue, in which Socrates served as the major role and speaker. Plato's philosophy was defined as collection and division. The major contribution of Plato. Plato founded the Academy, an academic program which many consider to be the first Western university. Plato wrote many philosophical texts, at least 25. He dedicated his life to learning and teaching and is hailed as one of the founders of Western philosophy. Plato had probably the single most important impact of the Western concept of self, as the soul is the most divine part of the human being, according to Plato. His view of the divine, however, is not one of the spiritual being, but rather one with intellectual connotation. Plato defines the self, soul, mind as the aspect of human beings through the forms or ideas are known, the appetitive, the rational, and the spirited. Application of their philosophy to reality. Plato's theory of forms asserts that physical realm is only a shadow or image of the true reality of the realm of forms. The forms Plato refers to are abstracted, perfect concepts which never change, unlike our physical realm. Even though the forms are abstract, that doesn't mean they are not real. The life of the philosopher Saint Augustine. Saint Augustine, a renowned theologian and prolific writer, he was also a skilled preacher and a rhetorician. He is one of the Latin fathers of the Church and in Roman Catholicism. He is formally recognized as a doctor of the Church. Saint Augustine, commonly known as Saint Augustine of Hippo, was a Latin father of the Church, a doctor of the Church, and one of the most influential Christian thinkers. The most significant theological system in his philosophical approach to Christian thinking, and his written writings are considered to be among the cornerstones of medieval and modern Christian thinking. The major contribution of Saint Augustine. Plato's theories inspired Saint Augustine greatly. Not unexpectedly, he agreed with Plato that the self is an immaterial yet logical concept. All knowledge ultimately leads to God. Making the forms, Saint Augustine claimed that these forms were within the flawless and immortal God, where the soul belonged. Saint Augustine believed that the soul was capable of scientific thought that held the truth. Saint Augustine's view of the self was an inner immaterial I with self-awareness and self-knowledge. He believed that human being had both a soul and a body, and that body had senses like imagination, memory, reason, and mind through which the soul might perceive the world. Application of their philosophy to reality. Because of Saint Augustine's capacity to rise and comprehend truths through the mind, Saint Augustine believed that the human being, who is both soul and body, is designed to tend to higher, divine, and heavenly issues. He linked the ascent of the soul to his statement that everything relating to the physical world belongs to the physical body, and that if a person is concerned with the physical world, he or she is no different from animals. Saint Augustine stated that person is similar to God in terms of mind and its power, that by failing to use of his or her mind or using it incorrectly, he or she will lose the opportunity to achieve the truth and enduring happiness.
René Descartes' life. René Descartes, prominent figure of the 7th century, made significant contribution to both philosophy and mathematics. In his early life in France, he received a Jesuit education that laid the foundation for his later philosophical and scientific endeavors. In mathematics, Descartes is renowned for developing Cartesian coordinate, which became fundamental to analytic geometry. His work, including La Géométrie, profoundly influenced the field. Philosophically, Descartes is best known for his method of doubt, epitomized by cogito ergo sum. I think, therefore I am. This concept aimed to establish knowledge based on reason, challenging traditional epistemological views. Descartes' contribution extend three key areas. First, his emphasis on doubt and reason greatly impacted epistemology, transforming how philosophers approach knowledge and certainty. Second, he introduced the concept of mind-body dualism, asserting the distinction between the mind and body, which continues to shape discussions in philosophy of mind and consciousness. Third, Descartes advocated for a methodological approach to science, promoting the use of mathematical reasoning and skepticism. This laid the foundation for the development of the scientific method, revolutionizing the rational exploration of the natural world. The application of Descartes' philosophy to reality has had enduring implications. His emphasis on reason and the scientific method catalyzed the scientific revolution, fostering a systematic and rational approach on the natural world. His dualism continues to influence discussions about consciousness, the mind-body problem, and debates surrounding artificial intelligence. Moreover, Descartes' method of doubt and foundationalism left an indelible mark on modern philosophy, influencing thinkers like Immanuel Kant and subsequent philosophers who grappled with the boundaries and possibilities of human knowledge. Descartes' legacy remains integral to our comprehension of reality and our approach to knowledge.
There is no aspect in modern Western philosophy that doesn't bear the influence of Immanuel Kant. Immanuel Kant was born on 1794 in Königsberg, which then became East Prussia and is now currently part of Russia. He grew up in a religious family following a branch of Lutheranism, so it is most likely that his religious upbringing influenced most of his philosophy, especially in ethics. As a young man, he worked as a tutor for wealthy families before completing a university degree and becoming a lecturer with a focus on philosophy. So, after he completed a university degree, he began to publish essays detailing his philosophical thoughts. Kant was only 5 feet tall and he dealt with health challenges throughout his life. And after the last years of his life, Kant began to lose his memories. His health declined and he had to stop writing because of this particular reason. He died in 1804 at the age of 79. Kant's most famous work, The Critique of Pure Reason, stated that reason is the final authority of morality, and morality is achieved only when there is absence of war because of the result of enlightenment. In reality, we can apply this philosophy in science, self-knowledge, and empirical truth. That's why he views self as transcendental, which means the self is connected to a spiritual or non-physical realm and not in the body. This emphasizes between what we can experience and what we cannot. For example, he believes that if we haven't tried or if you haven't experienced eating a lasagna, then you won't be able to tell or you won't be able to describe what it tastes like. So he argued that we can only have knowledge of things we can experience.
Life of Gilbert Ryle. Gilbert Ryle was born on August 19, 1900s in Brighton, England. A British philosopher, he attended in Oxford University where he excelled in philosophy. Ryle's academic career was distinguished. He became a lecturer and eventually a professor of philosophy on Oxford University. He played a pivotal role in shaping the philosophy department at Oxford. He earned a bachelor's degree in classical honors considerations and grades from Oxford. In essence, his life revolved around his academic endeavors. The major contribution of Gilbert Ryle to the understanding of self is his rejection of the idea of a separate or immaterial self, or what's called the Cartesian dualism. He emphasized that the self is not separate or ghost machine, but rather a collection of behaviors and disposition and ideas of expressions. Connection to their philosophy in reality. Individuals can use Ryle's philosophy for self-improvement by closely examining their actions, routines, and communication styles. Individuals can gain insights into themselves. This self-awareness through reflection empowers them to make constructive changes and enhancement. Applying Ryle's philosophy can enhance personal relationships. When individuals observe and interpret the actions and words of others, they gain a deeper understanding of their intentions and emotions. This leads to improved communication and greater empathy in relationships. To sum it up, Ryle's concept of self, which is revealed through observative behavior and language, promotes on emphasis on concrete elements of human interactions and experience. This approach enables individuals to attain more profound comprehension of themselves and those around them. The life of John Locke. He was born on August 29, 1632 in Norrington, Somerset, England. He came from a moderately affluent family and received an excellent education, including studying at Westminster School and later at Christ Church, Oxford University. He has a degree of Bachelor of Arts and Masters of Arts, including philosophy, medicine, and natural science. However, it is important to note that during Locke's time, academic degrees and educational structures were different from contemporary systems. Major contribution of John Locke regarding the self is his idea of blank state or tabula rasa. He proposed that when humans are born, their minds are empty and their knowledge and ideas are formed through sensory experiences. Additionally, he stressed that personal identity depends on one's awareness, the connection between ideas, which had a lasting impact on the study of the mind and how we acquire knowledge. Connection to their philosophy in reality. Locke's ideas can influence educational approaches. Teachers can design curriculum and learning experiences that could encourage students to engage with the world and develop a deeper understanding of themselves through hands-on experiences and critical reflection. Psychologists and counselors can draw from Locke's ideas to help individuals explore and understand their identities. Therapy may include discussion about how past experience and perceptions have influenced one's sense of self. In essence, John Locke's theory of self encourages a holistic view of individuals as constantly evolving entities shaped by their experiences and perceptions.
Paul Churchland was a Canadian-American philosopher known for his work in the philosophy of mind and his studies in Europhilosophy. He was born on October 21, 1942 in Vancouver, Canada, and passed away on March 9, 2019. Churchland's academic journey began in his native Canada, where he earned his bachelor's degree in philosophy from the University of British Columbia. He then pursued further studies at the University of Pittsburgh, where he completed his master's degree and ultimately received his PhD in philosophy in 1969. These early years of rigorous philosophical training laid the foundation for his influential career. Paul Churchland's major contribution in explaining the self and philosophy revolves around his advocacy for eliminative materialism, which challenges traditional notions of the self and mental states. He argued that our understanding of these concepts should be re-evaluated in light of advances in neuroscience, leading to a more scientifically grounded perspective on the nature of self and consciousness. One practical application of Paul Churchland's philosophy, specifically his eliminative materialism, can be seen in the field of psychology and mental health treatment. Churchland's perspective suggests that our traditional psychological concepts, like Freud ideas of the unconscious mind, may eventually be replaced by a more scientifically rigorous understanding of mental processes based on neuroscience. This shift in perspective can influence the development of more effective and evidence-based treatments for mental disorders. For example, the therapies and interventions could be developed with a greater emphasis in the neurological underpinnings of conditions like depression and anxiety, potentially leading to more targeted and successful treatment strategies. Paul Churchland's work continues to influence discussions about the nature of consciousness, the mind-body problem, and the relationship between neuroscience and philosophy.
Life of the philosopher David Hume. David Hume was one of the most influential philosophers in the history. He was born on May 7, year 1711, in Edinburgh, Scotland. He was an exceptionally bright young man who entered college at a very young age of 12. The school he attended was the University of Edinburgh, and he worked as a merchant after he graduated. Throughout the course of his life, he wrote a great deal on subjects related to philosophy and psychology. Hume had various positions too. He served as a chairman of pneumatics and moral philosophy at his alma mater, acted as a tutor, and etc. His major contribution in explaining the self revolves around empiricism and skepticism movement. He described the self as a bundle or a collection of different perceptions. He believed that there is no logical justification for existence of anything other than what your senses experience. He claimed that our perceptions are only active for as long as you are conscious. The application of his philosophy to reality. Hume's philosophy had a significant impact on how we understand reality. Hume's empiricism had a profound influence on the development of modern science, as it underscores the necessity of empirical observation and experimentation to understand the natural world. Thus, embrace skepticism and critical thinking by questioning assumptions, beliefs, and claims. This can lead to more rational decision-making and have a deeper understanding of complex issues. In addition to that, application of philosophy leads to personal growth. Recognize that our beliefs and perceptions are shaped by our experience. Incorporating these principles into daily life promotes a more evidence-based, rational, and open-minded approach to understanding reality and making informed decisions.
The life of Sigmund Freud. Sigmund Freud was born on May 6, 1856 in Freiburg, Moravia, now Pribor, Czech Republic. Sigmund grew up in Vienna, Austria, and studied medicine at the University of Vienna. Freud initially pursued a career in neurology and conducted research on cerebral palsy and other neurological disorders. He worked at Vienna General Hospital and later established a private practice. Freud's ideas were groundbreaking but also controversial. He faced criticism and opposition from the medical and psychological communities during his lifetime. However, His work had a profound and lasting impact on psychology, psychiatry, and culture. Freud fled Austria in 1938 due to the rise of the Nazi regime, and settled in London, where he continued his work until his death on September 23, 1939. He wrote extensively throughout his life, contributing to the development of psychoanalysis until the end. The major contribution of Sigmund Freud. Freud's most significant contribution came in the field of psychology. He developed psychoanalysis, a therapeutic method aimed at exploring the unconscious mind to understand and treat psychological disorders. Psychoanalysis, developed by Sigmund Freud, is a comprehensive theory of personality and therapeutic approach for understanding and treating mental and emotional disorders. At its core, psychoanalysis focuses on the exploration of the unconscious mind, emphasizing the following key concepts: the unconscious mind, the structure of personality, and the role of dreams, and many more. Freud's theories continue to influence modern psychology, though they have been modified and expanded upon over the years. His exploration of the unconscious mind, defense mechanism, and the role of sexuality in human development remain significant in the field of psychology. The implication of Sigmund Freud's work. Sigmund Freud's works and ideas laid the foundation for modern psychotherapy and profoundly influenced our understanding of human psychology and behavior. While some aspects of his theories have been challenged and revised over time, his impact on the field of psychology remains undeniable. One contribution of Sigmund Freud that is still being practiced today is psychoanalysis as therapy in a therapeutic context. Psychoanalysis involves regular sessions in which the patient discusses their thoughts, feelings, and dreams with a trained psychoanalyst. The goal is to help patients gain insight into their unconscious conflicts and unresolved issues, leading to personal growth and emotional healing. While many aspects of traditional psychoanalysis have evolved over time, the basic principle of exploring the unconscious mind, uncovering repressed thoughts and emotions, and examining the role of early childhood experiences continue to be important in various forms of psychotherapy. One is defense mechanism. Freud introduced the idea of defense mechanism, which are unconscious processes people use to protect themselves from anxiety and distress. This mechanism, like denial, repression, and projection, are still studied and applied in understanding human behavior and coping strategies.
Louis Merleau-Ponty, a 20th century French philosopher, left an indelible mark on the world of philosophy with his profound insights. Let us embark on a journey through the life of this remarkable thinker, exploring his major contributions to philosophy. Born in 1908 in France, Merleau-Ponty's philosophical journey began with his exploration of the phenomenology of perception. This groundbreaking work challenged traditional dualism, delving into the intricate relationship between the body and our perception of the world. His philosophy placed a strong emphasis on embodiment. He argued that the body is not a mere vessel but an integral part of our consciousness, shaping the way we perceive and interact with the world. His journey also led him to the realm of existential phenomenology. Here, he critiqued elements of existentialism, particularly Jean-Paul Sartre's view of disembodied consciousness, while highlighting the embodied nature of human consciousness. His exploration extended to the philosophy of art. He examined how art and perception are intertwined, revealing how art can illuminate profound facets of human experience. Within the corridors of philosophy, he redefined our understanding of space and time. Merleau-Ponty showed how our perception actively constructs our experience of these fundamental concepts, challenging conventional notions. His philosophical contributions find applications across diverse domains. His phenomenology of perception challenges dualism, impacting cognitive science and psychology, while his emphasis on embodiment influences philosophy of mind, neuroscience, and cognitive studies. Within existentialism, His critique reshapes discussions on human existence and personal identity. In arts, Merleau-Ponty's exploration of art's connection to perception informs art theory and aesthetics. His reimagining of space and time affects metaphysical discourse in our understanding of subjective reality construction, with implications for philosophy and physics. His work continues to inspire and shapes various fields, enriching our comprehension of the human experience and the nature of perception.